Howdy, y'all. This episode's going to be a little bit different.
PNM, the state's largest electric utility, announced their $11.5 billion acquisition by the New York-based company Blackstone Infrastructure last year.
Now it's getting a lot more personal, like this.
Tonight was the first opportunity for the public to weigh in on the possible acquisition, and it was a packed house.
Do not sell us out to Wall Street predators.
Unaffordable electric bill.
Threatens New Mexico families.
Bad for New Mexico.
Really bad deal. Reject this sale.
Reject Blackstone.
Their priority is Wall Street. Their priority is shareholder value and not the people of New Mexico. Blackstone is the world's largest alternative asset manager, and they're coming after TXNM, Texas, New Mexico. TXNM owns huge chunks of the grid in Texas and New Mexico. TNMP in Texas and PNM in New Mexico. I'm not a PNM ratepayer myself, but PNM is right there. I mean, I can see it out my window right now. This is a huge acquisition, $11.5 billion. And Steve Schwarzman, CEO of Blackstone. Stevie is going to make a bunch of cash on it by jacking up your rates and my rates to buy another fucking mansion. All right, we got to clear something up, okay? Steven Schwarzman is Jewish, yes, but take the goddamn tinfoil off your head. There are billionaires that are Christian. There are billionaires that are Muslims. There's a bunch of billionaires that don't believe in God at all. This is not about faith. It's about these guys who are filthy rich and getting rich off of our backs. And if you're thinking it's some kind of Jewish conspiracy, you are not seeing the real enemy. So pull your head out of your ass and let's focus. In this episode, we're going to be in Texas and New Mexico. And we're starting out just outside of Albuquerque with my good brother, Patrick. And Patrick has deep roots in this community, goes way back. He's a farmer, a community leader, and he's been speaking out against Blackstone and about Stevie and about this whole acquisition that's going down.
This fight is something that it's, as somebody put it recently, like it's just our turn
Right
now. It's ongoing. It has been going on, and it will go on, and it's our duty to do this work. Mm-hmm. And in this particular case, with private equity trying to take over the public utility, that's not the first time it happened, right?
We've seen it over and over and over again. It keeps playing out.
Yes.
Keeps playing out. We keep doing it. And every time we stop doing it, it's because the working folk come together and recognize what's actually going on. When we together look behind the curtain and say, fuck this noise,
Yeah.
then it stops.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop because the fuckers at the top all of a sudden have a change of heart. It stops when they're afraid.
Yeah.
I'm looking out at this, right? This beauty, the Sandias, all of the communities that you were naming down here, all the different ways that things intersect. This guy, Steve Schwarzman, looks at this and sees dollar signs. He's looking at it and saying, how much more can I take from here for me? He's looking at the valley here and saying, oh, I can get more.
Yeah.
I can get more. And trying to sell us a load of bullshit that it's in our benefit, that we benefit by putting more money in his pockets, we're going to be better off, which doesn't make any sense.
Right. This is one individual, a private individual, has more financial power, more purchasing power, whatever you call that, than the entire state.
Why is it okay for Blackstone, for Steve Schwarzman to come in to our community and play greed and do that and take as much as he fucking can? Anyone in this area who is celebrating that needs to stop and take a look at themselves, because you are encouraging greed that is going to not only harm your neighbor, it's going to harm you. You know, why celebrate this guy? Why be in favor of this economic development? We were talking about it earlier. Economic development for whom? Who is benefiting from this development?
And that greed, it's easy to, again, going back to the inhumanity, when these people So you wouldn't do that to your neighbor. They get up and go to work every day. You know their family. You see their kids go to school. You know their life, right? That's that human connection. Where these people, they're investors. We're a data point.
Spreadsheets.
We're a number on a spreadsheet. So these people make decisions on the life and death and well-being of human beings, living, breathing, children of God with a soul, and it's just a number on a spreadsheet. And they're like, nope, we'll take their water. We'll take their energy. Oh, they can't pay their bill?
Turn it off.
To the streets.
Yep.
But it makes it's a return for the shareholders.
My family, my friends, a bunch of people I know are paying into PNM.
I am.
Yeah, you are, right? And if this goes, who's next?
Precisely.
Who's next on the chopping block? Right? If we're not showing up for each other like that and recognizing that, hey, our fights are the same fight. These fuckers at the top are coming for all of us. Yep. They're going to extract something somewhere however they can. And we let them in once and they just keep coming.
Yes. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Mm-hmm. It starts with P&M and they start building out that infrastructure. And then, so like you talk about Wall Street, these people there's a lot of criminal activity. When it catches up to them, what does the public do? It's too big to fail.
Too big to fail.
They build one data center and they have a contract with, I don't know, let's just say New Mexico Tax and Rev or whoever's going to host their servers. They start acting up and we demand accountability, and all of a sudden the state government's like, well, without them, our network goes down. And so just to stop this while we can.
Now our Dishonor crew is going to be heading over to Texas, taking that 10-hour drive. They wound up in Whitney, which is in the TNMP grid. One of our members, Brandon, who's from Texas, has been over there with a couple guys. They've been knocking on hundreds of doors, talking to small businesses, letting people know what's going on with this Blackstone takeover. One of the guys that they met is Ty. He's there from Whitney. He's starting a small business, Tidal Wave Marine, doing mechanic work on boats on the lake there. So we're going to send it over there to Brandon and Ty to talk a little bit about what's happening in Whitney.
When was the first boat in this marina you worked on?
It was pretty early last year.
Yeah.
I think I was only in business for about a month, and some guy, pontoon that actually you could see from here,
Yeah.
he just needed a battery swapped out.
Yeah. How's it going? You catching anything? Nice.
Yeah, that's a ton.
We got like 15 in there, it looks like. Tell me a little bit more just about your roots in Whitney.
My roots started sophomore year of high school. I had been moving around a bunch because my parents are teacher coaches, so you just got to go with wherever you're hired. Finished out high school here, 3 years, and then after that, that's whenever I knew that I was going to start the business and be the boat mechanic.
Yeah. We know Blackstone's trying to buy Texas New Mexico Power, and what are your thoughts about why they want to buy it, and then what happens if they do?
Biggest concern for the Texas New Mexico Power buyout is that, I don't know if you've ever passed by a dealership, but at night,
Lit up.
it's lit up
Yeah.
all the time. And I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have the nice shiny lights shine on all the new boats and all that good stuff, and all the power to charge 100 batteries to run all our tools, and a diagnostic computer, and a ton of electricity goes into a shop.
Yeah. And then, 5 years from now, there's a 40% increase, right? They hike up the rates.
As soon as I will be getting my shop and really set it in place is about when that would happen.
Yeah. And what happens if they do that for you? Like, just think, because obviously you've thought a lot about this.
It would really affect me personally, because how I've got the business up and started, and my plan for making it bigger is I have to act broke to stay rich.
Yeah.
So all the money that I put into my business, I'm not even really buying, I'm shooting deer every year so that I can use that meat. I just have to go back to living poor after trying that hard for 6 years or so.
Yeah, I mean, building the business for 6 years,
Yes.
Seeing all the success, but not being able to really experience it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting, Steven Schwarzman, right? $48 billion personal wealth. Do you think he thinks about the stuff we're talking about, like the actual ways that these, quote unquote investments are going to affect real people, real everyday working people?
I couldn't imagine a single reason why he'd care.
Yeah. a lot of times we'll ask people like, you know, do you know who Blackstone is? And every once in a while somebody's like, oh yeah, I've heard of Blackstone, and there's not really any actual like foundational knowledge about who they are, what they do. And we ask if they know about the acquisition, and you know, 99% of people say no. But you know, you saw a Facebook post that Punch Up had put up, and it got you interested because you had some knowledge about Blackstone, even if it was minimal.
Yeah.
But what made you, when you saw that, dig deeper into Blackstone, and then what'd you find when you did?
It was really just that back in high school, in U.S. history class, you were taught about Rockefeller, and whenever he made a monopoly, and that's whenever they made a law saying, hey, this can happen pretty easily in this country. We have to legally, the government has to step in and stop monopolies. And if you go look at, I could Google a chart in 5 seconds right now that shows you 200 to 500 different companies, massive companies in America that are owned by 6 investment firms or parent companies.
You think that you should have to pay $300 more a month so that Steven Schwarzman has $49 billion?
I think Steven Schwarzman can suck something.
Yeah, I am in complete agreement, man.
Yeah.
You said something to us the other day when we met about a verse in the Bible that said to break the jaw of the wicked.
Let me see if I can remember it. It was, "O God, arise in me. You strike the evil on the cheek and you break the teeth of the wicked."
Yeah.
What a verse.
Why does that matter to you? Why does that resonate with you, you know, as somebody who faith is very important, and also part of how you stay connected in this community, right?
If you ask God, you believe in God, God will break the teeth of the wicked.
Yeah.
All you have to do is fight the right fight. God takes care of the rest.
Yeah. And do you think that you know, because obviously, like, people are going to interpret that differently based on how it resonates with them?
Yes. Some people will take that as, I should go punch somebody in the jaw right now.
Yeah, yeah. But do you think in this terms of like from your perspective of your faith, like, could that be interpreted as like, we got to rise up and make sure that God knows that this is not okay?
Yes. The people that do usually have $48 billion like to make us fight so that they can close the doors and make their deals. But if we were all in agreement, at least halfway, we don't even have to agree on the solution. We just need to agree on the problem, really. If we can agree on that and all of us can come together, we don't need money. All we need is a ton of people to say no. I think it's pretty easy to see from here where the data center is going to be. Big ass cranes.
When we met and when you reached out, you're concerned about the data centers that are being built. Granted, that's not a Blackstone project.
Yeah. But it is Black Rock, I believe, the other big one.
Yeah.
The last time I had seen it, they hadn't had any electricity hooked up to the building. Now it's all lit up inside. Man, that just looks dirty. There used to be a nice, pretty field over there. There used to be trees and... Oh my gosh. Ain't nothing nastier than man-made creations.
Yeah. And so you got Blackstone. Do you see any reality where they're not popping up more data centers around the lake?
They need water to run, and this is one of the biggest, deepest lakes in Texas. Sounds like a big old water reservoir to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at that. I didn't know they were doing anything on the right over here.
Blackstone is trying to buy something that affects 2 states. New Mexico can stop it, Texas benefits. If Texas can stop it, New Mexico benefits.
Yeah, y'all do me a favor and keep talking to people.
We want you to get to know Steve Schwarzman. Good old Stevie.
We're trying to be the best in the world at whatever we choose to do.
He's joining our crew of 3 so far. We've got Joe Lonsdale and Randall Smith, Joey, Randy, and Stevie, our 3 fuckers at the top. Now, Stevie is clocking about $48 billion in wealth. So far, he's the wealthiest of our fuckers at the top.
Our success is because we've been at the right place at the right time.
It's not really just the number that makes him a fucker at the top. What makes him a fucker is how he got that money. How does any one person acquire $48 billion in wealth. Well, guess what? Someone's getting fucked along the way. Blackstone is the world's largest alternative asset manager, $1 trillion in assets, and they've been working in a lot of other sectors, exploiting a lot of workers, a lot of people, a lot of families. One is in housing.
Blackstone
has mounted a post-pandemic project of mass evictions.
Raising rents beyond what the city allows.
And properties managed by this global slumlord complain of black mold, raw sewage, and
They're also getting involved in healthcare.
Team Health, a staffing agency owned by Blackstone, charges about 6 times what Medicare charges.
Blackstone bought Team Health.
Are notorious for their surprise medical bills.
We started seeing ads almost immediately, people waiting for 15 hours.
Blackstone is also fucking with our children. In the meatpacking industry, they've hired at least 102 kids.
The children, ranging from 13 to 17 years old, were using hazardous chemicals in cleaning meat processing equipment.
One of the most shocking child labor lawsuits our region has ever seen.
A judge has now called for more company oversight as part of a newly signed consent order.
They're fucking with housing, they're fucking with sick people, and they're fucking with kids. This is how Blackstone makes their money. This is why Stevie is a billionaire. Screwing people over, people like you and people like me.
I love it.
So what does the guy do with all that money? Well, let's see what Stevie is doing with his billions of dollars. This guy has over $200 million in vacation homes. Vacation homes! He's got a Palm Beach mansion, and there's another mansion guest house, which is right next door to it. So he's got a mansion with a mansion. The Miramar Mansion in Newport, 30,000 square feet, 27 bedrooms. It's some French neoclassical mansion. Well, at least it's neoclassical. I guess that accounts for all the goddamn money. He bought Colehort Park in England for $80 million. It's a 2,500 acre historic estate. I guess he needs another vacation in jolly old England on his own fucking estate. And of course, the whole thing wouldn't be complete without a Park Avenue penthouse. He's got one of those too. So this is really bad news for Texans and New Mexicans because, Blackstone is trying to buy TXNM because Stevie needs more money. Electricity prices are going up everywhere. These prices are going up faster than they have in decades. And this kind of purchase by a private equity firm, by Blackstone, this kind of purchase is going to drive prices up even more. Why? It's real simple. Blackstone and companies like Blackstone, their whole purpose for being is to increase shareholder value, which means more profit, which means feed Wall Street. So this isn't the first time we've seen this, okay? This has been happening already. We know of other folks that have had their grid purchased, and what happens is, at the beginning, they promise a rate freeze. Okay, for the next 4 years, we're not going to increase your rates. Well, after that honeymoon period, things start to get a little wonky. El Paso Electric raised the average bill by $22 a month. Puget Energy, 21% increase in 2025 and 2026. Cleco Energy, Upco, more rate increases. If Blackstone were to succeed, then hundreds of thousands of ratepayers are going to see their bills go up, and they're going to be putting money into Blackstone, which is going to be putting money into Stevie's pocket that he can use to fund his Miramar mansion. Now, I've invited a couple of guys from Punch Up. We're going to get together and talk about what all this means. How does it affect you? How does it affect me? What is all this stuff? We're going to talk about what it is and why we got to come together in order to get these fuckers out of our grids, get these fuckers out of our pockets, take back this country for ourselves. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us, Brandon and Michael Harrington. You all know, coming from Appalachia. Really glad you guys can both be with us today. We've been talking about private equity. We actually talked about it when we were looking at that manufactured home community of Theos. We were talking about private equity then. How does it work? Because I think they want us to be confused But I believe that we can actually understand this in real simple terms without using all that Wall Street gobbledygook to understand what private equity is. How do you guys understand it?
There's a bunch of rich people who have basically money in a pot, right, on Wall Street. They pull together their money, put it together in a pot, and what private equity really wants to do is purchase whatever it is that they can purchase. In this case that we're talking about here, what it is they want to buy a massive utility that stretches from Texas to New Mexico, right? So when I say it's basically just a bunch of rich fuckers at the top who've pulled a shit ton of money into a pot. These pots are huge. Like, they're the kinds of pots of money that have enough cash on the barrelhead, so to speak, to purchase massive, massive companies.
Another important thing to remember is that when private equity invests, the goal isn't long term, the goal is profit. And so you can actually look it up on the Blackstone website, or look up Steve Schwarzman on YouTube, and you'll find a video of Steve Schwarzman saying our goal is to buy, build, or wait and then sell and maximize profit. And so this whole idea of like that Michael's talking about, it's about the money, right? They have the money to buy these things, but the goal is not to keep them.
When I think about private equity, one of the things that I grew up believing, right? I remember this because I remember Reagan, right? I remember believing that, hey, what's good for business is good for people. And I've heard that a lot, like, well, we need to run this country like a business. Well, we need more business practices. Good business practices are what ensure success. And one of the things that I've come to see is that when we use that word business, we're talking about two different animals. We're talking about Wall Street and Main Street. And the rules on Wall Street do not apply on Main Street. On Main Street, if I take out a loan for my small business, then I've got to make sure that I'm still pumping out my product. I'm still doing what I got to do. I got to still pay my employees, pay off that loan over the long term in order to increase my business. But on Wall Street, they take out that loan and they start charging everybody through the roof, cutting wages, selling off equipment, whatever the fuck they want to make that stock price go up. That is not good for Main Street, not at all.
Like, if you think about when you walk down your Main Street, wherever you are in the country right now, what matters is, like, when you go into that small business, you go into that grocery store, you go into that diner that you love so much. It's how you treat people that keeps your doors open, that keeps that loan paid, right? And when we're talking about Wall Street, it's not that ever at all, right? It's not about how you treat people. In fact, when you're making that amount of money on Wall Street, owning these shell companies that own shell companies that own shell companies, it's not about how you treat people. It's about what you take from people that keeps the money coming in. And so if you were walking down Main Street and you brought your car to the local garage, and instead of fixing your car, they were taking parts out of it and you caught on, that business would close, right? Because nobody would ever go back there, because that business doesn't have money to cover up what it's taking from you. It's just, all it has is its reputation. And so that's another difference between Main Street and Wall Street. Wall Street just takes. They don't give anything to you or your community. And the more that they take from you as a hardworking person, like Michael was saying, the more successful that they become, the more money that they make. So it's two different places. It's two different models. It's completely two different ways of being. And that Wall Street model would crumble communities if every small business used that frame of mind in how they did business.
The other thing that I'm thinking about is these commissions. I know they got a little different name here in New Mexico, is the PRC and the Public Regulatory Commission, and they're supposed to take care of New Mexicans and make sure that all of our energy grids and all this stuff is up to snuff and that ratepayers are getting the best deal possible and yada, yada, yada. We went and made some comments down there. A bunch of people came out. But man, over in Texas, they just shut that shit down.
We met with the mayors of certain towns and cities, and the mayors didn't know about it. And you ask yourself, why is that? Why would nobody know about it? Well, I don't know. Maybe Blackstone knows that if nobody knows about it, nobody can fight back.
These commissions really have a deep responsibility to be looking out for the little fella, for the ratepayers, right? That's what they're for. That's what they're supposed to be doing, is making sure that our interests as the public are protected. And so they really have to step up and do their job and do their duty, because they're there to serve us. Right. And it is our responsibility as ratepayers to make sure that these entities, these regulatory agencies, actually serve the public interest.
When people all the time say, what can we do? What can we do to fight back against some asshole who has $48 billion? Well, the first thing you can do is not just lay down and take it. Right. And then when your government sells you out, then you fucking let them know, like, we're going to start acting different because you assholes are in those seats because of us. If you can't speak up, and if your Public Utilities Commission is going to sell you out, and if nobody in your state government is going to say, what the fuck is happening here? Who does it lie on? Right? And that's kind of what Punch Up is saying. It lies on you. It lies on us. Working people. We're tired of getting fucked. We're tired of getting screwed over. We're tired of working more to pay more to get less. And it's time to actually start paying attention to what's happening.
I'm almost 40 years old, and I haven't known about private equity for a very long time. I don't own any stocks. And sometimes when I turn on like the business channel, like I feel like I don't know really what they're talking about. So this hasn't always been like on my radar or something that I was really passionate about. I'm kind of new to this, like so many other people. But one thing that I want to remind everybody is that everyday working people, we are smart enough and capable enough and driven enough to find out information about the place that we call home. We've always done that. We've always had to do that, right? And so by working together, joining with your neighbors, you can learn things about what is private equity, how does it work, who owns Blackstone, why do they want to purchase up a utility, right? We can support each other and work together to learn new things about the decision makers and the choices that are impacting our daily lives. And we really, really need to do that. So, if you're like me and just really starting to learn about private equity for the first time, that's great. Welcome aboard. Maybe sometimes I feel like I'm a little tardy to the party, but there ain't no sin in that.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I was talking with Patrick, good brother of mine since many years, and he lives in the PNM zone. So he's paying his utilities to PNM. I'm not. I'm up in a different grid. It's Jemez Mountain Electric Collective, and I'm going down there standing next to him because both of us know that it doesn't stop with PNM.
One place where I find a little bit of hope in these fights that can seem bigger than you really know what to do with is that everyday working people have also always been in the fight and pushing back for what's right and winning what we deserve. I'm reminded of the people throughout our history where I'm from in Kentucky that have said, you know what, I'm tired of corporations and companies and Wall Street screwing us over. I know that same fighting spirit is in the very ground that people are walking on in Texas, people are walking on in New Mexico. There's always been working people that have stood up, pushed back, and got others to join in, right? And that history is long and proud.
You can see a split in the data center property that's being built in Laguna Park, Texas right now because some people said, get fucked. There's no amount of money you could offer me, and those are real fucking heroes, man.
Yep.
Real
and,
ones.
If you peek behind the curtain in your area or take a look under the hood, you might find that you're not just next, that the battle is already underway in your area.
It's not just one battle. Do you know what I mean? Or it's not just one war, I should say. There are many battles in one single war. And guess what? Wall Street's coming for all of us. They will never be satisfied. There is never such thing as enough over there.
There's opportunities that you can take advantage of to get in the scrap, because the fight is already underway. Whether you're in it or you think that you're not in it, it's already happening.
And I will always side with, you know, a scrappy ass group of people any day over some velvety, soft-handed fucker at the top, right? But it's time for us as working class people to also know that, like, it's time to side with ourselves, because we've been brainwashed in this country to think that money is the measure of shit. It's not. And so we're shining light on the battles to let people know, don't think, oh, Texas is, you know, good luck to Texas. No, it's you next. It is going to be you next. And, you know, you're Ty and you're Patrick in your community. And these stories should resonate with you, because at the end of the day, what we all have in common as hardworking, working class, and poor people is we have a voice, we have a say, and we have eyeballs and we have ears, and we know what the fuck is going on, and it's time to call it out every time.